Today, we are digging into a story that's been almost completely forgotten. It's about a groundbreaking scientific experiment from 1994, a story of incredible ambition for American farming that just disappeared. And almost everything we know about it comes from this single, fascinating research document. So, I want you to think about this question for a moment, because that's really what this is all about. It's a look at this huge lost opportunity, a future that was literally planted in the ground but was never, ever allowed to be harvested. Now, to really get why this project was such a massive deal, you have to understand the context. For almost 40 years, nearly 4 decades, all serious research into industrial hemp was basically shut down in the United States, all because of its link to marijuana. So for a team to even try to do this was, frankly, revolutionary. And let me be clear, this was no backyard experiment. This was a serious, privately funded scientific mission led by the Hempstead Company. Their goal? To finally break decades of silence and answer one simple but enormous question. Could hemp once again be a real, viable, and profitable crop for American farmers? And right at the heart of this whole thing was one person, the lead project coordinator, Christopher Boucher. He was truly the visionary, the main brainpower driving this incredibly ambitious operation forward. Of course, Boucher wasn't working alone. He had a core team with him, including the field technician, David T. Martin Jr., and Stephen H. Saunders, who was the editor that put together the final report that we're digging through today. And I really can't stress this enough. They did everything by the book. This wasn't happening on some secret farm somewhere. They signed a formal lease to do their work at an official United States government facility, the USDA research station in Brawley, California. You know, it just doesn't get more legitimate than that. So this team, they were meticulous. They knew that if they were going to have any chance of making their case, they needed cold, hard scientific data. They had to build a rock-solid argument to revive an entire American industry. And their whole approach was just brilliant. Look at this. They didn't just plant hemp one way. The top picture shows the seed crop, which they spaced out in rows so the plants would grow all bushy and produce a ton of seeds. But the crop on the bottom? That was packed in super dense, forcing the plants to shoot straight up and create those long, really valuable stalks for fiber. 2 different products from 2 different planting methods. So smart. But their analysis went way deeper. I mean, literally, all the way down to the microscopic level. They were studying these tiny cross-sections of the stalk to analyze the properties of the fiber and the core. This is the kind of detail you need to figure out a plant's real potential for things like paper, textiles, or even building materials. And of course, they had to deal with the elephant in the room, proving their crop wasn't a drug. The whole controversy was about chemistry. So to prove their hemp had almost zero psychoactive THC, they brought out the big guns, a super precise scientific method. The key takeaway here is that this was not guesswork. It was a rigorous, disciplined, multi-step process. They'd collect the samples, dry and grind them, extract the compounds, and then feed it into the gas chromatograph to get an exact THC measurement. This was hard science, plain and simple, and it confirmed their hemp was way, way below any psychoactive limit. Okay, so you've got this incredible project, right? The science is sound, the team is totally legit, the mission is clear, everything is going great. But just as the crops were hitting their stride, it all came to a sudden and honestly, a really shocking end. Just look at this timeline. In February, they get the green light. By March, the seeds are in the ground. In May, the data's coming in, and it looks amazing. And then, July 29th, the project is just destroyed. Not even 5 full months after it all began. And there it is, right from their own report. The state of California stepped in and destroyed the fields. Can you imagine? The very plants that were the whole point of this historic research, they were all cut down. And just like that, it was over. But here's the thing. Even though the project was cut short, the team had already gathered 5 months of incredibly valuable data. And that data, it paints this powerful picture of what was lost, the ghost of a potential billion-dollar industry. Just get a load of this. Based on their early findings, the team projected that by kickstarting a domestic hemp industry, they could create over 13,000 new jobs. And we're not talking decades from now. We're talking within just 4 to 5 years. And it wasn't even just about the jobs. The researchers calculated that a U.S. hemp industry could generate over $1 billion in environmental benefits and savings. Think about what that means. Reducing the need to log our forests, using way fewer agricultural pesticides, just huge. This table from their report really just lays it all out. You can see the mind-blowing potential here across textiles, fiberboard, paper. It wasn't just about jobs, but about real, tangible environmental benefits. I mean, it hammers home just how massive the lost opportunity really was. So after looking at all of this, the science, the mission, the incredible data they managed to save, we're left with a question that honestly still hangs in the air today. Was this a failed experiment? Or was it just the right idea, backed by solid science, that was simply decades ahead of its time? And that really is the final thought to leave you with. Just imagine, what would our world, our agriculture, and our industries look like today if those pioneering fields in Brawley had just been allowed to keep growing?